Hello everybody, welcome to our inSSIgth webinar dedicated to the sport digital revolution. And through this webinar, we are encouraging you to enter into this revolution. We have the great pleasure to have key experts in sport and sport 2.0. And during the webinar, we will also introduce you some opportunities for co-creation and co-funding to develop your own solution in the sport industry. I'm Géraldine André-Augustin. I'm the CEO of Blumorpho. Blumorpho is inSSIgth partner. We are an innovation accelerator, and you can find more information on our activity on this link. But first of all, I would like to introduce you inSSIgth. inSSIgth is an European project coordinated by VDI-VDE and the EPOS program. It's a coordination and support action, and the goal of inSSIgth is to support the successful integration of smart systems in different products and applications. And one of the goals of inSSIgth is also to support the opening of new market opportunities for smart systems. But first, what is smart systems? As you can see in this graph, we define smart system as a combination of different functions. It includes sensing, actuation, data communication, also energy management, and it's fully integrated, as you can see here. So it's done through different technologies. It includes nanoelectronics, microelectromechanisms, but also magnetisms, photonics, chemistry, radiations, and it's quite available for a lot of technology and applications. So we have done different webinars already with inSSIgth. One was on cybersecurity, the second one was on biomedical, and we have decided to do this third one on the sport industry. Now I'm very pleased to introduce you our key experts today. So I would like to introduce first Régis Hamelin, the CTO of Blumorpho and also the Gate 1 project coordinator.
Good afternoon, Géraldine.
Good afternoon, Régis. I'd like also to here we go, introduce you Alberto Bicci from EPSI. Alberto, do you hear us? Alberto is facing some technical problem, I think. And I'd like to introduce you also Laurent Pretrich from MoveLab.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Laurent.
I'm here. Hello.
Good. So just make sure that Alberto is still connected. Yes, Alberto, you're with us? I think that Alberto had some technical issues, but very slight technical issues, and I think he's now back to connection. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Alberto. We hear you quite well. So welcome to our webinar.
Hi.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to ask our participants to also introduce themselves, and you will see here we have questions for you. So first of all, we would like to ask you, how do you assess your level of knowledge of smart systems? So you can see here you have different questions. So you can define you have high level of knowledge, it's number 5, to very low, it's number 1. So if you could just take a few seconds to fill in these questions, that will be also very useful for us and the experts to provide you with relevant information. Thank you very much. We would like to ask you a second question now, which is, where do you see the main added value in smart system solution? As you can see here. So do you consider it's valuable for new sensing functions, for connectivity, for autonomy solution, but also to open new markets? So if you can answer the questions, that would be quite useful. As we said also to provide you with additional information. So thank you for that. And the last question we would like to ask you, so how would you assess your level of interest in implementing smart systems? So you can answer now, but you can also, and we will ask you also the question later on, but from now, do you have any interest in smart system solution integration? So you just have to fill in these questions. Okay. So maybe what we're gonna do, we're just gonna start from now. And I sincerely hope that, Alberto, you will have a good connection. But before going to the presentation from Alberto, I'd like to explain why we have selected this topic on sports. As you can see here on this slide, the sport market is a quite good market and quite large market, representing about $80 billion globally. And as you can see here also, it's driven by a 4-year cycle. It's represent annual growth rate about between 6 to 7%. And what we can see also is that there is currently what we call average revenue per user, ARPU, currently about 126 US dollar, which is quite a lot. And we can see also a higher penetration for 8.2% in 2017 to 10.4 per mile in 2022. What we can see also from the studies is that there is most of revenue are coming from the US, but we can see in Europe a large trend also to adopt more sports attitude, I will say. We can see that the European market in the sport is growing. It's going to be Christmas soon, and we can see that a lot of gifts could be also related to sports, as we can see in the press. So there is a real opportunity in the sport industry. But what we can see also is that the digital revolution is also very largely impacting the sport industry. It seems that smart systems and digital technology are changing everything about modern sports. For example, the athletes and coaches are now relying on digital data, both to monitor and enhance performances. We can see also that the officials are also using tracking systems to augment their judgment. And it's not only the only thing, it's about also the spectators, that they are turning their life into sport using social media or through virtual reality. So the audience is now more and more part of the sport industry. The audience is also playing like the journalists. We are collectively share data and experience in their day-to-day activity and sport activities. So we can really see that smart systems have a huge impact on the sport industry, and that also represent an attractive market for companies that are either active on sport or either active in smart systems. And we can see really a great opportunity for collaboration to develop new markets, to develop new business models. So that's one of the objectives of this webinar today, to introduce you some information about the sport industry, what are the drivers, to give you also an example of one company, MoveLab, that is entering into sport 2.0 with smart gloves, as you will see, and also to give you the opportunity to get access to technology for sports through the Gate 1 project, providing access to demonstrators that you can test and that you can also introduce to your markets. So now I hope that, Alberto, you have a good connection. And Alberto, if you're with us, I would like to could you introduce yourself and give us a bit more information about EPSI? As just for information, EPSI, it's European technical platform dedicated to the sport industry, and you are also linking the industrial companies from different fields in the sport industry. Roberto, are you connected? Yes, Roberto? Alberto, sorry. Alberto, are you online? Okay, so I think that Alberto is facing some technical issues. So meanwhile, just for information, Alberto, you can try also to connect by phone. Just to give you some information about EPSI. So EPSI is dedicated to, it's a European platform sport innovation activity, and it's based on membership. And the goal is really to link between sport, industry, and knowledge organization in the area of sports and innovation. So we had some questions for Alberto, but unfortunately, Alberto has not reached us yet. So I suggest that meanwhile, Alberto, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me, Geraldine?
Yeah, we hear you quite well. So I hope it's going to work now.
Fine.
So I tried to make a short overview of EPSI, but maybe you can complete it.
Yeah, so Geraldine, thank you very much and welcome to all the participants. So maybe a brief presentation of myself. I'm based in Brussels now for the last 23 years, and I've represented for 17 years the sporting goods industry, so all the sporting goods manufacturers such as Adidas, Puma. These are the most relevant and known brands, but the majority of our members were SMEs. And since the beginning of this year, I've now switched to this other organization, association, which is called EPSI, which stands for the European Platform for Sports Innovation. In a nutshell, what we do, we help companies, research centers, associations, universities to innovate in the field of sports. So this is what we do, and we have a network of all these members that are adhering to the European platform, and we're trying to help them, all these members, with the support of also some dedicated financial means coming from the European Commission mainly. So this is, in a nutshell, what I do at EPSI level, Geraldine.
Okay, great. Since you are a good expert in the sports, and I know you have also already considered smart systems, and you have built a good relationship also with EPOS, the European Technology Platform dedicated to the smart systems integration. I'd like you to ask a question: how do you foresee the impact of smart systems and digital in sports?
Well, I guess that, and hopefully you can still hear me.
Yes, we do.
I guess that the impact of the smart system into the sports sector is going to follow exactly the same trends as the impact of digitalization in the other sectors, such as health, such as transport, and so on and so forth. And so I firmly believe that the same impact of digitalization is going to follow also within the sports sector. So we need to follow this attentively, and we need to understand what are the business opportunities related to this digitalization of the sports sector. Geraldine.
All right. And do you see some specific high-growing market segments for Sport 2.0? In my previous slide, we have seen that there is different growth rate depending on the type of sport. For example, football or golf or tennis are different growth rates. So I guess the different sports have different interest in digital. So is it the truth, or do you think that more globally all the sports industry will benefit from digitalization?
Yeah, I would like to maybe also break a little bit the approach whereby sports is just physical activity. So it is just football, it is just tennis, and it is just badminton, to keep it short. Sports is much, much more. And I guess that if we understand that sports has a very horizontal impact in many other sectors, such as health, such as tourism, such as nutrition, for instance, such as transport or education and diplomacy, Well, I think that we understand that sports is just much more than simply, a physical activity. And so I think that if one has to look at some specific market, of course, the promotion of the physical activity will always be there, even though unfortunately studies at the European level, one study is called the Eurobarometer, is demonstrated that unfortunately we are less and less physically active in Europe in general. But beside the physical activity, one has to understand that sports is definitely intertwined, interlinked with health, tourism, nutrition, transport. I'm repeating myself, but this is just to show you that this is where one has to look at this growing possibilities, Geraldine.
Right. So, as you mentioned health, you mentioned transport, you mentioned a lot of different segments. Are those drivers for Sport 2.0?
Absolutely. So I guess that we have also, one of the actions that we do, that EPSI does here in Brussels, is that we're trying to guide the innovation into the sports sector. And in order to do this, we have published what we call a strategic research and innovation agenda. This is freely accessible from everybody on our EPSI website. But in this strategic research and innovation agenda, we are really outlining, where the innovation in sports is going. And if you look at this document, that helps us also. This document helps us also to lobby the European institutions here in Brussels. But if you look at this document, you find, exactly the same type of fields, the same type of sectors, such as, for instance, innovation in sports, an answer to various health issues, innovation in sports in line with sustainability goals, innovation as a driver for sports markets, and so on and so forth. So these are indeed, where one should put a lot of attention and understand exactly that these are the drivers for tomorrow's innovation in sports, Geraldine.
Right. And just for information for the participants of today's webinar, with the agreement, of course, of EPSI, we will send you this link so you can have also access to the strategic research agenda developed by EPSI.
Yeah, no problem.
That's great. So, do you consider that smart systems in sport are generating new business models? It seems that you explained us that sport is also under a revolution, transforming with different other market fields. But is it also an opportunity to develop new business models?
Well, this is unquestionable, and I'm going to not be very innovative in the way I'm going to address my viewpoint. But we are just hearing everywhere in the sports markets that companies are trying to integrate smart system into any type of product. I've got some concrete examples, for instance, of the intelligent racket of Babola, the French tennis racket manufacturer. Well, this is inevitable, yet we're still struggling to understand exactly how to best use all this new data that new smart system are generating. And so it is unquestionable that new business models will be created and are in the process of being created. We're still, in a phase of trying to assess and understand how can we best, capitalize some of these business models. But this is definitely going to happen, Geraldine.
All right, very good. And I think that it's also we have during this webinar the presentation by MoveLab that has, from our point of view, developed new business models. And this question of the use of data and what to do with the data connected, that would be also very interesting from Laurent Frétrich's point of view. I'd like to ask you an additional questions. Do you have some key advices to innovate in the sport industry, and also how can EPSI help on that?
Well, I guess that the easy response to this is yes, and is to become a member of EPSI. But I will be not very neutral in saying this, Geraldine. But jokes apart, I think that one has to have an excellent network. So, what are the advices? It is important to understand that there are many entities out there, innovating in the sports field. And as I was mentioning before, sports is such a huge market, touching many other sectors. So it is important to have a good and well-organized network of partners, of research centers, of universities, of even clusters. There are many clusters at regional level that are helping companies and industries to innovate. So one element is definitely the good network. The second element is definitely have a good ambassador, a good political sort of lobbyist, because of course we need to compete with the other economic sectors, such as the automotive, such as the pharmaceutical sector. All these are sectors that are ultimately trying to profile their own excellence. And this is why we need, an ambassador. We need to be very highly politically connected in Brussels, but also at national and at the regional level. And finally, the last element that I would advise is definitely, where are the financial means? So where is the money? In other words, and since the European Commission, but also national and regional authorities are providing a lot of financial resources for the innovation into sports, well, let us work together to obtain all these financial means. And so this will definitely be my third and last advice. We need to understand where to access the financial means and how to access the financial means, Geraldine. And in a nutshell, this is what we do at EPSI. This is exactly what we do at EPSI.
Right. So companies participating to this webinar and interested to enter into EPSI to benefit from this support can do so, I guess. And you are welcoming new members?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so that's the mission that you just mentioned here, that also our participant can read on this slide. Could you give us a bit more information maybe on your members?
Yeah, I mean, everything is accessible on www.epsi.eu. www.epsi.eu. This is our website, and all the information are there. And then I'm available for any additional questions or inquiry that any participants may have, either directly or through you, Geraldine.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, during the webinar, we will ask you also participants if they want to receive more information. And according to what we just saw, I think it's very interesting to consider sports as a vehicle for innovation that can address also a lot of different markets and other fields. So thank you very much, Alberto, for this presentation. I'd like to now to give the voice to Laurent Frétrich from MoveLab. So why we invited the MoveLab to take part to this webinar is because in one side you have very promising smart systems, new technologies. We strongly believe, and also Alberto validated it, that it represents new business opportunity. And we had the great chance to meet with MoveLab. And the goal is now to introduce you the MoveLab case study. So welcome, Laurent.
Hello.
So,
Hello, everybody.
Laurent, could you explain us a bit more detail what is MoveLab, but also where you're coming from? You are a sport expert, aren't you?
Yes, I am. So MoveLab is a young company that provides solutions. I say solutions because I don't want to say trackers or things like this. It's a solution made of tracker, application, and a workout store that will help people to measure all the physical activity in a fitness center. And when I say all activities, any kind of activity, whereas you're on a machine like a chest press or a bicycle, or whereas you are, doing what we call the body weight exercises like CrossFit or abs or boxing or rope jumping. And the point is that today we know that trackers are very limited on the way they are counting and getting the information, and we want to provide a solution that can help to get all the information thanks to the trackers, and also something very intelligent that will help you to have a better and more enjoyable training session. So the thing is that we find this at the very beginning of the adventure. The experience was Olivier and I. We are martial arts experts. We met like 25 years ago on tatamis, and for myself, I'm a former high-level athlete in Viet Vo Dao. I'm a black belt fourth dan, and it's been 30 years I'm practicing. And with Olivier, who is also black belt third dan, we found that it was really difficult to measure our efforts and all the efforts we were making during our training sessions on the tatamis or outside the tatamis, in a fitness center. It was difficult to have good information. So we decided to create a first sensor committed to boxing only. And then that's the case, that's the business case. We found out that if we wanted to have a good business opportunity, we will have to make it a little wider on fitness centers, because there are much more people in fitness centers than in boxing or martial arts classes. Mm-hmm. So we have moved, because that's also how a startup works. We have moved from boxing to fitness centers and providing a solution that can understand. When I say understand, it's that it's really understanding what you are doing. You don't have to touch your iPhone or your sensor. The solution is understanding if you are skipping, if you are rowing, if you are running, if you are lifting weights. That's very important, because in that way you can provide a new way of a solution which are more fun, more challenging, and that's our point. We want something that can be intelligent and helping you during all your session. And on a very concrete on a very concrete example, what we want is when you get into a fitness center, you decide if you're in good shape today, if you feel good, or if you don't feel good, if you want to work your your resistance, or if you want to work your strength or your power. And then you choose your program, and the application and the workout store will take you all around the fitness center, offering you different activities, and it will measure you during all these activities without doing anything than sport. Right. And at the end of the experience, you will know what you did, how you did it, how big, how fast, and you can measure yourself. And that's the main idea.
So basically, you're making a good use of all the data for the benefits of the users.
Yeah, and we don't want to provide a new tracker. The tracker is just a part of the solution.
Yeah.
We want something intelligent, and our point is we would like to help people to play fitness rather than doing fitness. Play fitness make fitness more enjoyable. And that's also another slide, if you can. Yes, that's what we're doing. We are offering circuit trainings or active games. We want people to have a new experience in fitness centers. I was talking about the circuit training inside the fitness center, but we also think that we can have small training sessions, small gaming sessions into studios, and you have some you have an objective, you have a défi. How would you say défi?
Challenge?
A challenge, sorry. You have a challenge, and you can be alone or you can be with a group, and you have to face this challenge. You have, like what we did at the camp Keep Cool, we have a thing called escape game, and you have 40 minutes to get out of, I mean, you have 40 minutes to get your spaceship to Mars.
Yeah. Wow.
And you use the rowing for the engines. You use the boxing to destroy you know, asteroids. You use the chest press to slow down the engines. So it's very interesting because it's a collaborative experience, and it's very fun, very challenging, and people are
so it's true. It's more than sports. It's really you're entering into the active games. So you are developing a new activity, new businesses in using the sports, but it's more than that.
It's more than sport, but it's also the reality. People now, young people, they are using more and more wearables, but they're using it because we are proposing them these wearables, and they don't know how to use them, you know. And the thing is that we also know that young people, what we call the millennials, they want more challenge, they want more interactivity, they want more games. And in a fitness center, you can have a wearable, but if this wearable helps you to get to a new level of training, like I am telling you, circuit training or active gaming, it's great because you're practicing fitness without noticing it.
Right. Okay. So just a questions to you. So as a sport expert, that makes you enter into sport 2.0. This connectivity, the digitization was attractive to you, right?
Yes, it was attractive. It was really attractive. But at the beginning, we were thinking very small. We were just wanted to know how fast, how strong. But in fact, if it's just a tracker for a tracker, it's not a point. We need a tracker for a solution that helps you to get to another level. And having fun in a fitness center, for most of the people who are practicing, it's important because we see that fitness centers have a very hard time to keep their participants, the people who are practicing. After 3, 4, 5 months, they're quitting.
Yeah. So, that's my second question. How is it welcomed by the users and by the market, by the fitness centers? Because you started the company like 1 year and a half now?
2 years ago.
2 years ago,
2
right?
2 years ago. And how it is welcome. In fact, users are really keen on this kind of solutions just because, you know, it's a new wearable. And when they discover that it makes fitness more fun, more challenging, they have the wow effect.
Right. Okay, that's really interesting. As a co-founder of this new company, did you face some specific issues when you launched the company, this new venture? Okay, so I think we are facing some technical issue again. Laurent, do you hear us? Okay, so we don't. So we're gonna. So what I can tell you is that if you wish more information of MoveLab, then don't hesitate. We will also link to them. So now I wanted to move to another point, which is how to link actually this sports 2.0 with other industry. And I think that we also answered to this question during the webinar. So it's true, sports can be linked with health, could be linked with wellness and prevention.
I'm back, Geraldine.
Oh yes, okay. You're back. Okay. So, you know, Laurent, what we're gonna do, we're gonna I think you covered quite well the presentation of MoveLab and the value of smart systems to open new opportunity in sports. What I suggest is now we move to how to get access to smart systems. And then we can maybe answer the questions we will have received by the participant later on. So I will ask our expert Régis Hamelin from Blumorpho, but also from the Gate 1 project. How can we get access to smart systems innovation?
Okay, so as you know, we are a partner of a number of innovation actions, and especially the Gate 1 project. And as Blumorpho, we define ourselves as innovation accelerator into deep tech, digital, and smart systems. And we cover the innovation cycle from the product inception to the first client acquisition. So Blumorpho, we work into multiple models. The first one is that we have a portfolio of technology that you can go through and identify disruptive concepts for your business. We can also support you in the identification of key strategic partners. We work on the full ecosystem around the innovation. And thanks to the Gate 1 project today, we can co-invest into a demonstrator. And this is a real outsourcing of functional demonstration. So maybe I can, the benefit of this lean innovation approach is that you can reduce the technical risk. When you have a technology, sometimes it's not completely adapted to your use case scenario, so you can modify or adapt the technology before you adopt it. You can use this demonstrator to meet with customers, to show them the value of your future product, and that generates some market traction. And since everything is covered by the European Commission, then this is, of course, obviously at low financial risk. And so thanks to the full ecosystem construction, we work also into an open innovation scheme. So today I would like to introduce you to a number of opportunities.
And those opportunities are open for financing, right?
Yes, absolutely. Every demonstrator which I'm going to introduce now are either accessible for test or are open for investment. It means that we have still for some funding, some investment lines to develop some additional demonstrators. So for sports, we have three potential technology approach. The first one is a motion capture. The second one is a performance monitoring, which is sometimes, of course, linked to the motion capture because we want to know how your motion is efficient. And we want to understand, to monitor the physical state, but also the mental state before any competition. And we'll talk a little bit also about safety because we have seen that sport is much more than physical activity. So the first one is about motion capture. Motion capture today is done into the activity trackers. We talked about the activity trackers. It uses a component which is called a wireless inertial measurement unit, and it helps to collect in real time the movements and transmit those information wireless. So you have here an example of the capture of the full movement of a hand, and each joint has a dot, a red or a green dot here, and that's where you put all the WIMUs, the wireless inertial measurement units. And at the end, you have everything computed locally, and you deliver a very elaborated information on the performance or on the motion itself. So this is a design which has been developed for medical application and which has been then used also in motion capture for smart insoles. We have seen the hand motion capture, but also for people who get injured for knee rehabilitation. So the knee rehabilitation was first demonstrator in the Gate 1 project. So this is something that can be still tested today. So for the performance monitoring, this is again not only a motion capture, but you add a number of sensors in it. So you have some optical systems which can help you to measure the level of oxygen in the blood, measure the heart rate. It also includes an activity tracker, of course. And recently, it has a galvanic skin response has been added, which measures the conductivity of the skin, and that's very helpful, for example, for stress measurement. And we would like to make this concept evolve towards smart clothing, or of course, to a number of sports. Any sports can make use of this motion tracking, or in the monitoring of the oxygen for the deep diving, for example. The motion tracking can also be used in horse riding or fencing. You name it. You just choose your activity, and each time you can adapt this solution to one sport. So for the stress monitoring, it uses basically the same platform, and it measures the heart rate. It can measure the muscle activity also, and in fact, it becomes more and more important in sport to measure the stress of someone before the competition, because you have good stress, which makes you perform, and you have the bad stress, which can completely kill your performance. And for that, you need to build some model on top of that. So our offer here as a demonstrator is to develop an algorithm that could be compliant with a smartphone. And the key challenge here is to be capable to embed the calculation onto a microcontroller. So that's what we would like to do. So we have currently some stress monitoring projects in the frame of the Gate1 project, which are focused on firemen, and we would like to offer the possibility to develop some stress monitoring for sports, and it must be specific to the activity that you want to perform. Another option is a radar for sports. When you have team sports, you want to work on the strategy, and you need to have the real-time position of all the people into the game. So a radar can give you a real-time position of someone. And another possibility would be to measure the speed of a sprinter. So the radar that I've been showing previously, it uses only components off the shelf. So usually the radars which are used to monitor the speed of sprinters, to collect the acceleration of a sprinter, it's a system which costs more than €1,000. And this design could reduce the cost to the range of €200. So that will make it affordable to any training team. So here you have an example demonstration of this radar. You have the peak here gives the position. We don't measure the speed, we measure the position. So when someone is running, then we can see the peak moving in time, in real time. So we collect the position in real time of someone running, and we can collect the position up to 20 meters with that first demonstrator. And at the end, we collect the position with time, and of course the speed with time, and the derivation of this information gives you the acceleration. So we're going to launch a new demonstrator in January next year. So it's kickoff in 18, not 17. That's a mistake from my side. Sorry about that. The project will last for 6 months, and we are looking for companies who could be interested to test this system. For your information, this is an investment value of €120,000. With this demonstrator, what we want to do is to increase the reach of the radar and to increase the number of measurements done per second to have a higher accuracy. And last but not least, this is one of the very first demonstrators that was developed in the frame of the Gate1 project. This is for safety in outdoor sports. You can see here a backpack from Mie, which is designed to inflate in case of avalanche. So you pull the trigger, and then you have an airbag which inflates, which will keep you on top of the avalanche. And here, the addition that we have implemented thanks to the Gate1 project is this beacon, which is a GPS position, which delivers a GPS position and can deliver and send this information without any network. It sends that on the PMR frequency, portable mobile radio frequencies. And it can send this information during 2 to 3 days. So we have demonstrated in the mountain scenario that we could locate a lost bag within the 10 to 11 kilometers. This was tested by the rescue team in Chamonix, and this is something which is now under development as a product. The same concept can be applied into many other situations, like on the sea, for example, and we would like to offer the possibility to use the same concept to other activities. So, of course, if you would like to test one of these demonstrator, feel free to contact us. So we're going to...
yeah, we can ask you right now, because as you said, those programs are available for funding. So I think it's a good opportunity we can offer to the participant to the webinar. So you can just answer to the question, do you want to receive more information? And you just have to select the program you're interested in.
So if you're interested in the motion capture, the wearables, the radar, or more information on safety, or something completely different, please click on this chart.
And it's also very interesting because during this webinar, we see that we have some technology available for sports where we can invest for companies interested in this topic. Through the EPSI also support, we can also get access to additional funding from at the European level, from the European Commission. And as you can see, also sport, it's a great opportunity to develop a new venture. And the example of the MoveLab company is quite interesting, actually. So that's for these questions on the program, but maybe you want also to receive information on EPSI, on MoveLab, but also on the inSSIgth project. So if you want to receive more information, just have to let us know. And we will be pleased to provide you with more information. For EPSI, we will send you the strategic research agenda. If you want to have more contact and information from MoveLab, we will be really pleased to put you in contact also with MoveLab. And also on the inSSIgth project that I will introduce in more details just later on. But as you know, inSSIgth is here to support smart system integration. We are building a large community of people working all together and facilitating access also to new markets. So, as we said, you are really welcome to join the smart system ecosystem. That can be done also through the EPOS European Technology Platform on Smart System Integration, which is also related to what EPSI is doing, but EPOS is doing that on smart systems. And as you can see, there is a strong link between the technology on one side and the applicative markets on the other side. In joining this smart system ecosystem, you can also get access to additional funding from the European Commission. So I would like to thank all the speakers of today and thank you for your very interesting presentation. So thank you very much, Régis.
Thank you, Géraldine.
Thank you, Alberto.
Thank you very much, Géraldine. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Laurent, as well. And congratulations for MoveLab, which is to develop quite well.
And you can meet us at CES Las Vegas in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right, you're making a show there again.
A second row, yes.
Great. So
and we're looking for investors. When we come back in January, we will be looking for investors to go from the first trials to now a concrete project and product.
Right. Okay. So that's really a company that is moving fast. Yes. That's great. Okay, so thank you very much. So don't hesitate to share your feedback. And again, if you want to have more information don't hesitate to contact us. You will have an upcoming webinar in 2018. We sincerely hope you're enjoying the inSSIgth webinar. For more information, this is my contact details. And for the inSSIgth project, you are very welcome also to contact Petra Weller from VDI Innovation and Techniques. And this is our contact details. So thank you all. We hope you're gonna have you had a good day with us today, and we wish you all the best for ending the year and starting next year. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.